Greetings, YouTube. Last week, I got a little hoodwinked, as they say. I had somebody hit me up that I trust. A friend, fellow content creator, all sorts of credentials, who had passed on to me news that they felt was really important that they wanted me to cover on the channel about Kabam. Basically, they had an opportunity to ban permanently people that were caught cheating, whether it be using the third-party software or a merc overseas to run their arena fights for them. Now, to be clear, third-party software, we've seen examples of that for years, but the merc thing has been going on since the first arena, I feel like. And Kabam has known about it, and people have told me not only did they feel like Kabam turned a blind eye onto it, but they even encouraged it maybe because it drove up scores. That's at least been the perception. Well, I think the permanent bans mainly went to people that were caught using third-party software, aka one-hit KO kind of software. But for the people who say had IP addresses magically pop up in 2 or 3 different countries in the span of 24 hours and were both grinding the arena or logging the arena, those accounts mainly got temporary bans. And the interesting thing is that the post that turned out to be fake, that I put a video up for 2 hours, the worst part of that story was, I mean, obviously I trusted my source, but I stayed up till past midnight on vacation to record it to make sure it was ready to put out, and it put all that work in just to be deceived was a bummer. It's just a really crappy feeling. It's hard to describe if you don't create content, especially when you actually care about reputation, though. I know there are people who, no matter how many videos I post of just like factual forum posts or deals or whatever, they're going to ignore those until I make another mistake. It's just the reality of the internet as a whole. But what if I was to tell you that the spirit of that fake forum post, that if you missed the video, and like I said, it was only up for a couple hours, so you probably did miss it before I deleted it. The fake forum post said that Kabam went through, stopped more permanent suspensions because some of the people who had been flagged were huge, heavy spenders, and that they were going through and maybe making those bans more of a temporary basis, even though they probably should have been permanent. That was the nature of the post. It was believable because we've seen Kabam do similar things in the past. Of course, they try to have it be in secret to where no one like myself ends up being able to report anything. Well, what if I was to tell you that even though that forum post was fake, the reality of what they chose to do with certain 100K plus lifetime revenue accounts was even more of a newsworthy decision than just bringing those accounts back without banning them for good? Because all I was saying in that video that I took down was that in light of Kabam temporarily banning those accounts, that they weren't going to permanently ban them because they were high spenders. That's all the video said. Well, it turns out that not only was that true for those accounts, but for the high-end spenders. How do you greet somebody who just got caught breaking your terms of service, cheating, if you will, in the arena? Well, you bring them back after a ban with a gift. Is that fake news? I don't think so. Even though I feel like this video has way more newsworthy ramifications for Kabam's view on high spenders than just simply not permanently banning an account and instead making it temporary. Because that actually did happen. Now, again, I don't believe these are accounts, although I might be wrong, that were caught using, say, BlueStacks. It was mainly accounts that had mercs, as they called them, running the arena for them. So, welcome back. This was a Wednesday, June 14th notification after 7 days of a ban. And you might be saying to yourself, why am I staring at a Paragon stamp card selector? That's a weird thing to pop up. And yes, it's the normal Paragon stamp card selector after 7 days. So this is a $35 value. You have to buy 7 days worth, though now you can get 2 stamps per day, one through the Kabam site store and one through the Apple or Google Play Store. So really 7 stamps is now just under 4 full days, not 7, of Paragon purchases. 20,000 6-star shards, 14,250 tier 6 basic, or the equivalent of that in the tier 3 alpha, the 25 generic 6-star SIG stones, and of course the 10% tier 6 class catalyst fragment crystal. Now again, why are we talking about this? Why am I talking about this? Well, because after those accounts came back, they were given both this purple selector, which is the 1 week of a Paragon, and most notably, to some, a featured 6-star crystal on top of that. Now, does that make up for some of their stuff they missed? Maybe, maybe not. But it is fascinating that, and I'll admit, turned out to be, I think, fake news, that post that I read. But that the gist of what the fake news was about actually turned out to be real news. And I'll take it a step further. Those accounts, because the news was just, hey, these should probably be permanent bans. We're making them temporary. They've spent $100,000 plus on this game in some cases. Now it's, not only do we bring those accounts back, but we brought them back with a gift. A gift that, in Kabam's eyes, is a pretty high-end value gift. A gift that players who did not cheat would not have been given. If that's not newsworthy, I don't know what is. And I appreciate those of you out there that have sent me this information, knowing that you either know accounts that were flagged for this, both secondarily or even primarily, as that's really important news for the community. Kabam's always going to say we handle things behind the scenes in our own way, and they're going to be real discreet about it, and I'm sure they're going to hate that this information's out, but that is why my channel exists, to bring you the news. And sometimes that means a retraction, but sometimes that also means a real hard look at what it's like to try to say, I know we slapped you on the wrist, but we want you to come back and be ready to swipe that credit card before July 4th weekend sales, because I don't think it's also a coincidence that Kabam is trying to store out right before July 4th weekend sales. Because why would you not spend your $800 or whatever it's going to be on Kabam's site in order to justify a higher unit return for the same purchase than through the store? Or is it going to be $1,600 worth of purchases, and you can buy $800 worth through the Apple Store and $800 through the Kabam site, like you can buy 2 daily specials? A lot to think about. We'll be covering it all, of course, on this channel in the next couple of weeks. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.